Díobh go léir go dúisle. Is mór an áir domsa mar cathaoirleach ar an bhór stúrthóirí don hunt don Irsman hunt fáilteas fé cá ráit chuig fáilteáin na tuairisce bliain túla don bhliain seo. Tá áthas an dánaring leis an méid imeachtaí agus an méid cuairteoirí atá le feiscint ag ghlacha páirt in san Irsman seo. Agus tá míad anna hásta go bhfuil na sprochanna agus na haimena agus ar nói fís na hirsmanna á bhaint amach ag an bord agus foireann na hirsmanna. Tá áthasraing go bhfuil an méid sin cuairteoirí ag tuairt cuairt ar an Irsman seo agus go bhfuil gachtainna tharbheith sásta leis an seirbhís agus na himachtaí ar tásúil ar mhaithe leis an pobal ar fad. Tá súlagam go minic tú tainmh as an túir seo léamh agus beag fíorfáilte rót mar aon bholtaí atá agat ina thaobh. Gur míle maith. You are very welcome to the publication of the annual report for the Hunt Museum. As chairperson of the board of directors, it gives me great pleasure in presenting this report to you in celebrating the wonderful successes and achievements of the Hunt Museum. We started the year with the exciting theme of belonging and concluded with an even more exciting realisation of the Metaverse exhibition. The school's programme is second to none in Ireland in reaching across all the Midwest and beyond, and we're extremely proud of the wonderful achievements that we note on a year-by-year basis. The joint education programme with the Limerick City Gallery of Art and the Limerick City Museum produced truffles with Carlow's South East Technological University Department of Interactive Digital Art and Design, a tablet game using 3D scanned objects from each venue. Players gave it a score of 10 out of 10, which we're not surprised with. This mix of digital and analogue enriches the education programme to be as exciting and as engaging for today's children. And we know from all of the research and studies that children really enjoy and take part and participate very, very meaningfully when in games and activities are full of fun. Our thanks to go to the retiring chair of the board, Mr. John Moran, for his generous support and leadership, and to our new directors for all the hard voluntary work and expertise they contribute to the solid but seriously transformational museum experience here. I also wish to acknowledge the highly committed and dedicated company secretary, Mr. Eugene Hayes, who has guided the Hunt Museum so ably for decades. Finally, I wish to congratulate the staff and friends of the Hunt Museum, led by our dynamic director, Ms. Jill Cousins, for all their wonderful work throughout the year. Gur míle maith go léir go dúisle, tá anna bhuaigh as an tacaíocht buan a léir aon sibh don Irsman Hunt, agus gnáirí go gealaing ar fad.
Everyone always says it's the team, and for the Hunt Museum this is really apt. Staff, docents, friends and directors of the board pulled together and pulled blinders every time. They responded to challenges appropriately and effectively, and at the same time delivered the majority of the ambitious programme we set ourselves in the 2022 business plan. Each year we produce a business plan towards achieving Strategy 2025. The overarching theme for 2022 was the Accessible Museum. There were 3 specific platform-level goals for the year. These goals were delivered in collaboration with our communities through our 4 key priorities of collections, participation, innovation and funding, and supported by marketing and operations. This year saw increased digital capacity among the docents, who worked on audio files, learned to use the interactive table for Made of Earth, and helped in the updating of the content management system. The integration of digital with the physical received a boost with our Bells Soundscape for the Lorcan Walsh The Artifacts Project exhibition, thanks to Owen Callery of the University of Limerick and from the work of Alan Dormer, also of UL, in the digital interpretations of our Egyptian collection and the painted triptych. Our community support continues to broaden with Africa Day, Multicultural Christmas, links to St Gabriel's, Limerick Island City Partnership, Ukrainian refugees, to name just a few, and the wonderful work with the Traveller Pride and the communities of St Mary's Park, Kings Island and South Hill. Workshops on crafts and garden activities from these people all contribute to the running of the museum. Escaping the museum in 2022 was our bronze Etruscan jug, reimagined in Corten steel thanks to Takumi, and a temporary COVID remembrance piece by Heather Griffin and Patrick Mulverhill called Archive of Inconvenience. And there are 2 more objects looking to join them in 2023. Visitor numbers grew steadily, although not yet back to pre-COVID times, and overall revenues held up against 2021 at 1.2 million, and we achieved the majority of our KPIs. Overall, visitor numbers were at 73% of 2019 levels, with over 95% being domestic tourism. This represents an increase in domestic tourism in real terms, as the figure is usually at 40% of visitors in the summer months.
Several grants have helped our digitisation programme and increased our inclusiveness. Continuing the theme of accessibility, At Your Fingertips during Heritage Week proved to be a fun and alternative way for visitors to experience objects in the collection, using touch and audio description. However, the goal on the 3-year collection display strategy is delayed until 2023 to allow for more consultation, and the desire to modernise a gallery suffered from lack of appropriate funding. Collection outreach was very strong, with the successful completion of the EU project Art of Reading in the Middle Ages. The team received worldwide accolades on the educational videos and online galleries produced. The work included the first use of Museum in a Box to play the chant written on one of our manuscript fragments. Our 3D digitised medieval objects are on Sketchfab, Scan the World, the Digital Repository of Ireland and Europeana. We continue to win plaudits on Sketchfab and now have 315 models uploaded. The excellence of our 3D scanning has put us in the top 10 objects on Sketchfab over 5 times in 2022. Sybil Connolly continues to be popular with a wiki editathon to upload her sketches and a celebration of her contribution to the world on International Women's Day via the Europeana Instagram account. Support was received from the European Fashion Heritage Association for our Stitch in Time fundraiser. Care of collections and resolving of many outstanding loan agreement issues has been a key activity this year. The first KPI was not met, as overall visitor figures are still not back up to 2019 levels. 2022 started with the lockdown and very few overseas visitors, but diversity and new attendees KPI was well met. The launch of Belonging was a huge success, with 395 people at the launch of the exhibition held in St Mary's Cathedral and the Hunt Museum. 15 EU ambassadors, Minister of State Thomas Byrne and Cormac Murphy from the European Investment Bank attended the launch and the Mayor's Supper in the Captain's Room. The EU embassies promoted the exhibition and their country's artists, and a series of events were staged to engage a wider public in the exhibition. Highlights were the I Belong series with Gorm Media, the young people's led tours of the exhibition, and interpretations of the works by school children, music generation and circus performers. LSAD students produced cyanotype interpretations of the Belonging works in the Hunt Museum, resulting in an excellent exhibition in its own right and a good platform for the promotion of the exhibition. The exhibition received good media coverage, including On Arena, with Sean Scully being interviewed by Sean Rocks and the RTE News at 6. All of the art reviews were strong, and the Irish Times worked on the Belonging angle in their New to the Parish section with an interview of our director, Jill Cousins. Stephen Lawler's In a Liminal State attracted over 200 on launch night, where John Banville was a guest speaker. Sales of artworks and merchandise earned €2,658 for the museum in commission. The Artefacts project by Lorcan Walsh complemented the Hunt permanent collection, with 4 of our medieval 9th century handbells with their sound recordings. The paintings themselves were portraits of the objects, looking at pre-colonial visual art in Ireland and bringing to the fore the craftsmanship and artistic beauty of Irish visual culture. Made of Earth brought the Hunt Museum ceramic collection into focus. Families and school groups learned about the importance of ceramics to human civilization through the use of engaging interactives. Visitors enjoyed experiences such as Museum in a Box, VR and a 3D digital experience of the Hittite horse and rider, and display of some of the beautiful pieces in our Irish contemporary ceramics collection. A real hit was the new space for the clay workshops. Run by the Education Department, LSAD students, docent Margaret Walsh, and other artists. Feel the Earth gave a real hands-on experience of clay. The proceeds from the successful LSAD second-year painting show went to Doris Limney. The Traveller community exhibition, Home, during Traveller Pride Week brought travellers and their families into the museum. Cafe exhibitions were very popular, featuring local artist Hugh McMahon and Olga Anika for the Polish Arts Festival. There was some difficulty getting to 35% of schools, due largely to the exorbitant transport costs, but 21 primary schools and 9 post-primary schools attended workshops, with 2 primary schools attending 6 different workshops and 7 sending more than one class. 3 Muses, a joint education initiative of the Hunt Museum, Limerick City Gallery of Art and Limerick City Museum, delivered Belonging Schools workshops and the Clay Through the Ages programme using the collections of all 3 partners. The Digital Teachers Pack focuses on 4 ceramic objects from partner collections, providing clay-based lesson plans and a wealth of related video-based resources to support classroom-based teaching and learning on these objects. Of special note is the Truffles game, worked on with Carlow Southeast Technological University. This has been added to RTE Learn, who also featured Clay Through the Ages. Made of Earth enabled the STEAM-based workshop programme for primary schools pupils. The workshop was delivered with 3 schools during Limerick Science Festival, including Ula National School, who had never before come to the Hunt Museum. The STEAM partnership suffered a setback with the disbanding of Confirm. Both the Lifelong Learning Festival and Creanew Nanogue activities were all well attended, and the slow art session for the former was a resounding success. Online work with schools continued with Mozilla Hubs, and the Arma Calligraphy and Reading Aloud programme also presented at the IMA conference.
Communities of Culture completed Phase 5 with the delivery of some excellent short videos created by TY students from CBS Sexton Street. In the process of making the videos, they interviewed volunteers and numerous characters from around Limerick. A public showing of the work was held with parents and family, along with the Deputy Mayor of Limerick attending. A surprising result was that one of their short films was selected for inclusion in the International Children's Film Festival, NINA. Communities of Culture delivered a People's Library storytelling event for lifelong learning, which attracted a wide variety of storytellers and 50 participants throughout the day. The Captain's Room became a big house library with a very engaged atmosphere. Community outreach was further strengthened with the Probation Adult Learning Service participants engaging with the Living Archaeology Project in the community garden. For Heritage Week, using the medieval bells installation from the Artifacts Project exhibition, Limerick City and Limerick County Youth Theatres created an audio experience by taking well-known Limerick phrases and converting them into Latin. These phrases were then spoken by the young actors into the microphone of the installation. The subsequent recordings were then compiled and a bespoke Gregorian chant was created, highlighting the playful nature of language. Volunteer recruitment, retention, and programme management remained challenging. But the register is growing, and 8 volunteers were recruited to contribute stories to the People's Library event. And there was interest in the new 3D digitisation programme. The association with Limerick Mental Health Volunteers, who help out in the garden each Wednesday, was also renewed and is being developed. The docents are such a positive force in the museum. 5 docent-supported projects were progressed in 2022. Dementia, Made of Earth, Sensitivity Audit, the Library Project and Artifacts Research. Docents engaged with Made of Earth and the new interactive table showing ceramic roots and the geographies of the Hunt Museum's objects. This really helps visitors to understand the ceramic objects on display. The development of our visual impairment resources and accessibility could not have been done without the 5 docents working with our visually impaired volunteers in order to create audio descriptions of some of our objects. Some progress has been made on the creation of the UL module, related to researching the collection with the UL Public History and a new course which will be available for docents from September of 2023. The Association of Friends of the Hunt Museum reverted to being under the museum's governance as the charity's governance requirements were felt to be too onerous. Gaining and retaining a Friends coordinator has been one of the biggest challenges during 2022 and has a serious knock-on effect in achieving the KPI. However, some very useful work on sorting out the membership lists and the new online membership platform were put in place. The Silver Circle has enjoyed a resurgence in popularity, and the book club is thriving. The enthusiasm and dedication of Anne Hyland as the chair has resulted in some great events and a reinvigorated council. The KPI of 3 communities was met with our docents, the visually impaired co-creators and the local business engagement. Docents engaged in our Community Plus programme to improve access for visual impairment using Museum in a Box and high-quality audio description. Thanks to ADI Arts and the NCBI, 4 visually impaired co-creators attended the first Museum in a Box project session on September the 23rd. The Heritage Council grant for an accessible museum allowed for 2 new digital plays, bringing to life our painted triptych and the Egyptian collection, alongside the introduction of Navilens to help orientate the visually impaired in the galleries. Engaging the business community directly in the work of the museum came from the installation in our Museum in a Garden of the Etruscan jug, made of Corten steel thanks to Takumi Engineering, and we started work on the large version of the dodecahedron with Kirby Engineering. The cyanotypes produced by LSAD students as interpretations of the belonging works of art were added to our Hunt studio, with Delphine Moreau, Head of Arts and Culture at the European Investment Bank Institute, choosing Liam McHale's Bread and Butter, in memory of Buddy, based on the Isabel Nolan artwork for the EIB collection. The Horizon Europe Recharge project kicked off in October, looking at new participatory business models for museums. We lead the key work package on Living Labs, and the grant is worth $384,000 to the Hunt Museum over 36 months. For the museum's own Living Lab, we are working on connecting Irish museums, companies with CSR budgets and local communities. And this mix is proving very fruitful with some exciting projects in the pipeline for 2023. The shop saw a 40% increase in sales on 2021 and surpassed budget. The online shop is slow, requiring a lot more promotion than we have the capacity to deliver. However, it is encouraging to see some sales have been made to the US and Italy. The Sybil A Stitch in Time Fund It campaign met its target of €12,500, but required some input from the museum. The bigger plus was the publicity and interest the Sybil collection gained from the fashion designers and heritage institutions. Competitive grant funding result was very positive and rewarding of a time it takes to submit proposals. The Department of Tourism, Art, Culture, Gaeltacht, Media and Sport awarded €15,000 under Regional Museums Exhibitions Grants for Made of Earth, and another €10,000 was given towards it under Limerick City and County Council Festivals and Events Grants. The Heritage Council awarded €19,000 for the Accessible Museum project, and the Community Foundation for Ireland gave €7,500 towards training for the older person. A very helpful additional €65,000 support grant was awarded to the museum from the Department of Tourism, Art, Culture, Gaeltacht, Media and Sport against high utility and inflationary changes, but there was no traction on the capital grant for redisplay of the collection. The most substantial funding came from the new Horizon Europe Recharge Grant, which will cover the cost of 2 full-time employees until the end of 2025, and hopefully produce some new business models for the museum. The objective of capital funding to change, upgrade, display and flip the building is proving elusive. Support from local SMEs, businesses received a boost with the creation of First Tuesdays, a social networking venture between the Limerick Chamber of Commerce and the Hunt Museum. The First Tuesdays event with Grant Thornton and the speaker Paul O'Connell was a great success, with over 100 attending. The reduction of costs and evaluation of suppliers has also made some savings. All 3 KPIs were achieved. Audience diversified as a result of events connected to belonging, or visitors to Made of Earth, as well as the use of Museum for Africa Day and Multicultural Christmas. Diversification of the audience is also coming from the increased use of TikTok on social media and working with partners as diverse as Gorm Media and Pride. Hunt Museum is in the top 10 of attractions for Limerick. Engagement with our social media was very strong in 2022, and the platforms combined showed an overall growth of 43%. KPI on flipping the building was not met. The competition alone requires over €80,000. Funding was investigated for both, but flipping the building required $60,000 to $80,000 to run the architectural competition alone, and the proposal for funding a redisplay was not successful. The remaining department capital grant was spent on a new building management system, which should reduce utility costs and make the building a little greener, improving accessibility with automated doors. Q1 saw the final transfer of Sage to Xero accounting management software. Almost all data flows have been automated thanks to the Lean program. The new accounting system makes reporting and control easier. The shop till now connects directly to Xero, reducing paper and manual input of figures. Some lovely events were held in 2022. As we emerged from COVID, making full use of the garden. These included Riverfest, the Wild Geese Festival in July, and Culture Night, the Sand Sculpture Festival, a chess tournament, and summer painting en plein air, and the garden related events have all helped to make Olmec Man the new Insta personality for Limerick.